All right. I got a little bit of feedback that my hour and a half long videos were a little over the top. So we're going to, I'm going to do this a little bit quicker. First off, I'm going to show how I edit guitar parts, right? I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. But I also wanted to show how I record guitar parts when I'm putting ideas together. You can see this is just a project where I have no idea what any of this is. I'm just messing around. Yucky. What's this? Alright. So, this is one I was playing around with a couple of things. This is the exact same thing. I've re-recorded it and put it here. These are just panned left and right to show you. This one is panned left, and this one's panned right. Hard left and right. And I'm pretty sure these are identical amp sims, just for noodling. Yeah, I'm just using the nameless suite. So we have so basically this is how I set it up when I'm tracking, especially double tracking, quad tracking, whatever, it works the same way. I will set up one guitar track. I have them set up to like tape only monitor when I'm recording. So if I hit play, you will see, even though this track is armed, the monitor goes away. So I would not hear the guitar. Then I will open up lanes. This is takes, right? And I will go ahead and set a cycle marker for just the area that I want to record, right? And I will hit record and I will play it as many times as I feel I need to get a couple of good takes. Typically I try to do it without comping. You can absolutely comp though. It makes the second part a little bit more complicated because now you've got to bounce a selection before you can drag it down, right? Because really what I'm doing is I want this, just a solid take. And you can see, for this method of what I'm doing, you do want it as close as you can get it. Now, obviously, I'm fighting latency of an audio interface, and I'm going through a couple other things on the way in, so my latency isn't the best in this setup. But I'm also not tracking like final guitars, so. But it will give me multiple takes, boop, 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 and then I will take that take and I will just drag it down. So I've essentially, in the course of however many times this plays through, recorded 5 or 6 takes, and there's my quad track. Then what I'll do, right, so this is just a simple riff, nothing special, nothing even spicy. Cool. Whatever. What I'll do is I will come in and in quarter notes, I will cut everything. So these are all separate. I may not keep you on for the entire thing because it can take a minute, but I'll show you my workflow. So keep in mind, this is literally just 2 takes. I just hit record and I let the cycle start over. And I'll also, the cycle may start here, but when I'm hitting record, I may start it back here. And I also have a 1 bar count in. So technically I have 2 bars of count in. Usually I do that. It depends. Some riffs I need 2 bars or 3 bars of count in just so I get the tempo, like I am in. I'm in it. And I might even play it for a bar, kind of just to give myself the feel. And then just cut that. In this case, this was not the first take. So, that's what you're seeing here, are other takes. Because technically it's recorded it consecutively. It's just, I get lanes. So what I do, you can see I brought it before the bar, right? And that will make sense here in just a moment. Because, and I'm probably not doing this 100% correctly. Depending on your DAW, you will have the opportunity to do this, right? I'm going to make it bigger so we can see. And we're just going to start at the beginning, right? So what I'll do is when you look at the waveform, right? This is the part that probably isn't correct, but it works very well for me. So you can see, first off, the hit is right here. Might not be showing up too well for you. And here is that hit, right? So what I'm thinking is that Cubase has determined that this is pick attack, right? And even though this one is showing a little bit further back, I'm still going to assume that pick attack is right here. So what I will do is inside, let me show you. If in Cubase, if you hit Control and Alt, boop, I can move that around. You can see here is that little segment, right? But I can move it around. Okay. So I'm assuming that this is pick attack, and I always want pick attack to be before the like segment or whatever, this line, right? And I'm gonna make this like basically perfect. We are going to get in there, right? So that's where I want it. Now, this isn't as important at being at 0. Consider this 0 line. Think about it like this, right? A speaker that isn't moving, it is at rest. That is the 0 line, right? So, just to visualize it, we'll start right here. Coming down, the speaker is pulling in, whoop, back up, and then goes past its 0, and then back, and then forward, right? So think of it like that, because that will help you make sense of the next part. So I'm actually going to go ahead and grab this one, and I'm going to put this one on. Okay, now, this isn't as big of a deal, but I'm going to clean it up anyway. And what I'm looking for is just to have it at 0, right? And I'll tell you why in a second. Doesn't matter where, obviously you don't want that much. You don't want that to be a 0. You want it like right here, right? 0, sure. Okay. So now we have this. Now it's worked out so far, but look, you can see this is the tail end inside here of this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. We're going to find a 0. It's pretty close to a 0 right there. So I'm going to, shit, where did I say it was a 0? Sure. We'll say it's right here. I'm going to bring this up to a 0, right? And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring this one over. And I'm going to remember my pick attack. And then pop, I let go, right? So I'm bringing it right on. Okay. Now, the important part when you're doing this, because you got to remember these are DIs. And if I choose to reamp these rather than using an amp simulator, you got to be a little bit more careful, right? I'm going to put a crossfade in. So as this segment is fading out, this segment's coming in. So now that I've got this lined up, I've got it where I want it, right? I'm going to look at this one, okay? And I want to get this one on a 0, which that is just about close enough. I mean, I'm pretty zoomed in on this waveform, right? But I want to find a 0, and because there really isn't one, well, I guess there is. Not as good. You want it to be behind this one. So I'm going to find a 0 right there. Sure. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one real quick. Let's go ahead and bring these back down to usable. And this is another weird thing. I swear that these are multiple takes. This is not the same take. I'm not BSing it. This is not a duplicate. Okay. We're going to bring it past it. And I am going to get it on. So we don't really have a 0 behind this. So let's keep going. Right there. Okay. So think of it this way. It doesn't matter that these line up. This lines up. Now I have guitars that they're not perfectly in phase. They will never be perfectly in phase, and it doesn't really matter because they're not coming down the middle. It is left and right. These are panned left and right. But if I were to reamp these, right, and I'm sending this signal into my reamp. Is this my reamp? This is my little reamp box, right? Coming out of my interface into a reamp box into an amp. Amp's mic'd up. That waveform, right, is as the new one's fading in, you don't want it to start where the speaker is already at a different state than at its, neutral state. You want that signal to sweep in, right? It's going to save you a pop. It's going to be much more clean. But now you can look. These are different takes. And if you look closely, you can tell, this one comes a little bit further up here. But, I mean, they look pretty close. It's because I'm playing the exact same thing. These are the same notes, the same spots, almost the same time. I wouldn't have to edit them like this if they were. So this, you want it to come back over here. On. And I will go through. You want to make sure that you don't have any of this pick attack. That's almost best case right there. So and then quickly I will find my 0. Let me get this one on one. Not that it matters. It's pretty much faded out by the time it gets there. So the signal is super low. So sure, there's a 0. That's going to be close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do not beat your head against the wall. I mean, you can if you want. If you're a perfectionist and that's just what you are, then go for it. But you don't have to. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't have to come in here like this and get it right on. Now, when I'm zooming in on these, when you're zooming in your project window, other DAWs might be different. I'm pretty sure that you can't zoom in as far in this project window as you can in like an editor window. And what I mean by that is I'm in pretty far, right? But I don't see individual samples, right? You can see, I'm pretty sure this is recorded in 48. Where is it? Oh, so sorry, I'm using voice meter, and voice meter is in 48. That's cool. So might sound a little chipmunkish, but it doesn't matter. It's still gonna work. So I recorded in 44.1, but that is not 44,100 samples per second, right? Zoomed in. So another way to check that, or if you wanted to look, is I will open up the editor and I will zoom in, and you can go all the way down to the samples, and you can see the curve that Cubase is drawing on it. I think that this is more zoomed in, maybe not much, but you can see how it's handling them. Okay, cool. Now you've seen that. So I will do this for every interaction across this timeline, right? I'm going to come in and I am going to bring every one of them in. Remember, I'm getting ahead of the next note because I slid that one over. So everyone. Okay. Now, the reason I'm not going back and changing where this side ends again is because I'm not moving this side. It's already moved, it's in place. I'm moving this one, so that's why I moved this one first and then this one over top of it. That way I can adjust this side. So now when I come over here and I move this, right, that's not going to move again. Only this one is. So, nope. And pay attention to make sure that you don't accidentally, especially if you're working with like faster pick notes, that you don't drag the wrong note into the space, because you never know. You might, and then you're going to be like, what the hell is going on here? And it's because you moved a little too fast. There we go, right there. And, ooh, see, there's a point. I will actually bring it back here because you can still see there's no value here. So if I start the fade back there, it's going to sound wonky. So look at that. That's good enough for me. And good enough for me. So now I've done these sections, right? I'm going to select this because we have all these overlapping spots, and I've got a crossover at each one. So it's fading one out, bringing another one in. So they're on. They're timed. They're working. And yeah, so between just arming one track and knocking out multiple takes and then separating those, between that and um, editing the guitars. Now, after this is done, this is the exact same thing. I already did it here. It's the same exact thing. And that actually will bring up a cool thing. Let's see if there's a squeak in here. So it's probably this. So when you're looking for stuff like that, another thing to remember, right? So lower frequencies, think of this like it's a waveform, because that's what it is, right? So, but what you've got is the sweeping curves inside of this is your lower frequencies. And then the more shrill things in between are all the little jagged moves on this, right? And that's how you're getting that high energy. So when I'm looking at this, part of me would think that it's this, but I doubt it. I actually think it's back over here. Where was it? Here. Because of the sharp. No, it's still coming off. I don't know. Hard to tell. Because I tried to isolate it and do that, but it didn't make a difference. Yeah, so cool. All right. Hopefully you get some use in that. Have fun. Also remember, and I might catch hell for saying this, but it's a lot easier to do this kind of editing on DI guitars. And I may do another video at some point of an actual like recorded guitar through an amp, because the waveforms that you get from DI are a lot more defined. Like you can see the note trail off, clear up, next note. Whereas with an amp, you have a lot of energy. The microphone's just taking in a lot of energy, and there's not as much like clarity and definition between the notes. So if you are trying to be that articulate with it, you're going to be better off recording DIs, edit the DI, reamp the DI. It gives you a whole lot more room to do things. You can do a lot more with your guitars that way. Edit them, get them how you want them, you know, and you're going to spend more time editing guitars than you are playing it by far, like probably tenfold or more, but you're going to get a much better product with that guitar after the fact. It all depends on the genre. If you're playing, if you're recording in a genre that's more about feel, then who cares? Like it doesn't, you don't need it to be right on. It definitely helps being right on when you're trying to get big guitar sounds left and right. You want your guitar to sound huge, so you hard pan them. That helps, but it just depends on the genre. And have fun. And comment or something and tell me how you do it, or link a video you did, or let's have a video call and show me how you do it, because I always like to learn. I love to learn this stuff. I don't know if I ever really watched a video on how somebody else did it. What I will say, actually, a final note, and then this is gonna stop. Don't time stretch your guitar parts. It's really easy especially in Cubase, to throw hit points on a guitar take and then just quantize it and let Cubase stretch parts to make it all fit. Super easy to do that. You are introducing a lot of wild artifacts into the guitar that isn't what you played. It's not. And you're losing. I mean, maybe you're a shit guitar player, and that's totally fair, and you want a good product, and you don't care if it's not what you played exactly how you played it. But if you are interested in maintaining the integrity of your playing, like, I don't mean integrity in like an elitist way, I mean integrity like your pick attack and like things like that. If those are things that you build into your playing, then do it this way. You're going to maintain those things in this rather than suck the soul out of it. But who cares, dude? It's music. Have fun. There's no rules. Anybody that tells you there is or there are rules, that they can go to hell. There's no rules. Do whatever. No one cares. None of this is real. None of this is real.